What's up, A to Z Sports Titan Game Day live here from Acme Feed and Seeds rooftop. We're going to have a big-time show and a big-time Titans game day as the Titans are at home against the Seattle Seahawks. With nothing on the line for the Titans, the Seahawks come into this with a lot on the line. So we'll discuss what's the most important thing for the Titans today in this game with no playoff implications, no Will Levis, to see what they can put together. A lot of players go on into reserve over the weekend. I'm Austin Stanley with Jack Gentry. So we'll figure out here during our pregame, halftime, and postgame show on what the most important thing is for this Titans team today. But Jack, before we officially get everything going here, tell the people what they got to do here from Acme Feed and Seed.
Yeah, hey, thanks for joining us today. It's a beautiful Sunday out here in Nashville. I want to wish a Merry Christmas to everyone watching right now. While you guys are filing in, let's make sure we're sharing the show if we're watching on Facebook. So go ahead and share that to your Titans Facebook groups. If you're watching on YouTube, tap the bell icon near the top of your screen. Turn your notifications on. You do not want to miss an update from A to Z Sports. Lots of stuff happening right now around the team. So make sure you're updated by turning your notifications on YouTube. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link to your Titans text groups. Text it to your family. Text it to your relatives, your loved ones, anyone who's a Titans fan. We want to send that link out to. Make sure you're taking the temperature of the fan base. We want everybody in here. We're going to grow the audience, grow the conversation. So help us out with that. And finally, don't forget to like the show on the way in. Absolutely like the show. It helps us out. And Austin, let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, let's officially welcome into A to Z Sports Titan Game Day Live, presented by a bunch of our friends. We'll start off with the X Golf Nashville, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee, the Mint Gaming Hall, BetMGM, law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, Chim Chimney Adventure Science Center, and Jarrett HVAC and Plumbing. This is the X Golf pregame show presented by our friends at X Golf Nashville. It looks like Jack's mic, maybe a little back that thing up a little bit there. But also want to give another shout out to Spirited Hive and Ranch Water for all of the game day specials all season long for the home games live from Acme Feed and Seeds rooftop. Jack, it's like 65 degrees and sunny here at Acme and out in downtown Nashville. And so I'm really curious to see what the Titans game plan is today, because we'll go through the X Golf X Factor. We'll go through our Mint Gaming Hall bingo board to see what the Titans can do, and maybe just hit a bingo, and then our BetMGM pregame predictions. But I'm really curious, Jack, to know what the most important thing is for the Titans to achieve today.
Yeah, it's a weird game. It's kind of got a preseason feel to this with nothing left to play for the Titans. Haven't been eliminated from the playoffs. But on the other side of the ball, you got the Seahawks, who are jockeying for a playoff position. They need this one bad. Could the Titans play spoiler today? We'll see. A lot of interesting things to watch. We'll get to some of that X Factor stuff here pretty soon. But Ryan Tannehill could be his last ride at Nissan Stadium today, depending on Will Levis's availability next week and moving forward this season. So, it's an interesting game. I want to see Tannehill leave Nashville on a high note. This could be his last start. So, lots to watch for in that capacity. Also, roster-wise, you have some guys that need to step up in the season to enter the offseason with some confidence. Make this coaching staff believe in a couple of these guys. Trey Burks, Chigakonkwo, Tajay Spears can take that next step. So there are stuff to watch for while there's nothing really to play for this week.
Yeah, for sure. And here live from Acme, working on the audio issues here from our microphones. Not really sure why that's going on again. We had it all figured out pregame in our test. But, Jack, I'm thinking for me, the most important thing for me to see here is the Titans' ability to adjust when something's not working in the play call department. We talked about this all week long, how bad the Titans were when it came to first down play calls, and Tim Kelly in the first 19 first downs calling a run on 15 of them. That can't continue to happen. You have to be able to adjust on the fly. So for me, I understand it's not about the win. Honestly, you probably want to lose this game. But I'm really curious to see what happens with the Titans play calling, and can they get that figured out, and to see some in-game adjustments to make this a more enjoyable viewing experience for us here at Acme, for the people at Nissan Stadium, and for everybody gathered around with their families on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, you hit on it. First down play calling last week was abysmal. We saw Derrick Henry run into a wall repeatedly. He had more yards after contact than actual yards in the football game.
Right.
That is not a recipe for success. This offensive line has to step up to Tim Kelly's job a little bit easier today. I would like to see less tosses, less screens to Derrick Henry. She set this offense up for success. I want to see deep balls today. Seattle comes into this game with a 24th ranked pass defense. They give up big plays often in that secondary. Can Trey Burks stretch the defense? Can D-Hop get loose downfield? Chris Moore, he usually has at least one big catch every single game. We'll see if the Titans playmakers can step up today.
No doubt. So, Jack, let's go ahead and get to our X Golf X Factor here on the pregame show. What is your X Golf X Factor here on the show today? I want to give a shout out to our friends at X Golf Nashville, who is the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. xgolfnashville.com is where to go to book your holiday parties, gift cards that you want to get for that golfer in your life. X Golf has reinvented the player experience, creating the most accurate indoor golf simulators on the market today, giving every person the power to take on the world's best courses, the top courses, the courses you see on TV around the world. You can play at X Golf Nashville. They've also got the self-tee aspect of it, where you don't have to go down there and chase your golf ball after each shot on the simulator, which sounds like it's a little thing, but Jack, that goes a long way. When you've got the self-tee tool there, where you just got to push a button with your club head or your foot, and boom, right there, teed to the perfect height that you wanted at X Golf Nashville in Bellevue. It's a great spot to check out, xgolfnashville.com. So, Jack, I'll send you to the chat or yourself. What is the X Golf X Factor for today and the Titans to achieve? Not necessarily a win against the Seahawks. The Titans really don't need to win, but it's audition mode. We've talked about it a lot this past week. But what is the X Golf X Factor today in this game against Seattle?
Yeah, you want to show well today, even if that doesn't mean you win the football game. Steve Redford hits the nail right on the head. Offensive scheme. It's time to open it up. Titans have nothing left to lose, so let's see them play that way on offense. Let's see the game called that way. Jody Newell says Tannehill. JQ says Zinter, the punter. Ty Smith says Derrick Henry. Can Tannehill and D-Hop reconnect? You know, they had a good thing going before Tannehill got hurt, lost the job. Can they reestablish that connection? Alex Bynum agrees. D-Hop. Seahawks not showing up, says Jeff. Defense from Robert Elder. Burks got a ball. Austin. Weird stat. Seahawks have only had one 100-yard rusher this season. That was Kenneth Walker in Week 7 against the Arizona Cardinals. They have not been able to run the football efficiency this year. The Titans are coming off back-to-back games where they've allowed running backs to go crazy. Devin Singletary carved them up last week against the Texans. Raheem Mostert diced them up, even in the win on Monday Night Football in Miami. Can they keep Kenneth Walker, who's a very sound running back, and Charbonnet in check? That's going to be the test for me. That's my X factor. How can the Titans handle the run game? Remember, no Jeff Simmons.
No.
Tierra Tart's not here anymore.
No.
So who's going to step up and fill that void?
I mean, there's Cal Pecco's not even here anymore.
Nope.
Like Danico Autry might be playing some of his last games as a Titan. So you want to look at Danico and then the guys that are going to be here next year that you can count on, because Jack Gibbons is also on IR. So who are these defensive players that you're expecting to be able to make plays in the future? Harold and Arden Key are not the best against the run. Rashad Weaver's not the best against the run. Outside of Autry, who's another interior lineman that's going to play today that you think is going to be back on this football team next year?
Yeah, it's going to be Jaleel Johnson.
Jaleel Johnson.
He's going to have to make plays in the middle. And you know, we saw Marlon Davidson come up with a big sack last week. He's going to have to step up in a new role for him. TK McClendon going to see extra action today off the edge. So it's going to have to be one of those guys, or really that combined has to do a nice job in patching up the holes in the run game. Make sure that Kenneth Walker doesn't get to the second level, because if he does, he's got breakaway speed.
Oh, and he's good. Like Kenneth Walker did a great job against the Eagles. And honestly, Kenneth Walker's ability to run the football is why the Seahawks were able to steal that win away last week on Monday Night Football from the Eagles there in Seattle. Jody brings up Azeez Al-Shire.
Yep.
Azeez is around. He's your leading tackler. He's really the only guy out there on defense who is the leader aspect, the captain's patch type guy outside of Harold. But I think Azeez needs to have a big day today. And then you really have no idea what to expect from the secondary, because those guys have to tackle if you're talking about stopping the run. Can you name the 5 guys that are expected to be the starters in the secondary?
Yeah.
If the Titans go nickel today, who are the 5 guys that are playing in the second?
McCreary, SMB, Trey Avery, Elijah Molden, and whoever fills in for Amani Hooker.
Kayvon Wallace?
Yeah.
Like it's a
patch, and it's a really tough matchup, even if you're fully healthy.
Yes.
Right? Because they've got DK Metcalf, they've got JSN, and Tyler Lockett's a deep threat as well. So it's a tough matchup for good secondaries. The Titans don't have that, and they don't even have their starting group. So it's going to be tough to see that. And look, the one light at the end of the tunnel, Geno Smith isn't 100%. He missed last week. Drew Lock came in. Will the Seahawks have that same type of energy today where, last week it felt like they needed to elevate their game around Drew Lock to, pull off a miraculous fourth quarter win.
Yeah.
That was an emotional win. We'll see if there's a letdown today. Having to travel across the country, it's not an easy game for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and I've said this all season long, ever since the schedule came out, that if the Titans are in a position to win a football game and need a win in December, getting the Seattle Seahawks at noon on Christmas Eve at home is the right place to get them.
What a spot.
The problem is the Titans are terrible. They're eliminated from playoff contention at 5-9. So we're talking through here. What is the X-Golf X factor here for this game today against the Seattle Seahawks? I'll go with mine. And I kind of talked about the Titans offensively. I want to see Tim Kelly call a better game, but somebody has got to be able to become a game breaker on offense to match along with DeAndre Hopkins. I think today, my X-Golf X factor, I want to see Treylon Burks, but two big, nice football games back-to-back. He had 62 yards on 3 catches and 3 targets last week. I want to see Burks do something like that again. I think the floor for Burks today needs to be 3 for 50. If Treylon Burks doesn't end up with 50 yards today, I'm going to be disappointed because I want to see Treylon Burks start to climb and improve and get himself to where he can be a reliable wide receiver too and change this offseason. We talked this past week, Jack. I think Sam and I were having this conversation where I think Treylon Burks, how he finishes the season, could have the biggest influence on how the Titans view their offseason plans. If Treylon Burks can be productive and do something to show you promise, even a little bit, that changes your wide receiver needs in free agency. So you go take that money elsewhere. It changes your wide receiver needs in the draft potentially. And you're still going to need to sign a receiver in free agency, draft a receiver somewhere. But it changes the category of level of player you're looking for.
Yeah.
If Treylon Burks can finish strong and that starts today, then maybe that free agent receiver is somebody like a Chris Moore. Maybe that rookie receiver is somebody in the 3rd or 4th round, not in the 1st or 2nd round, where you need to go offensive line and corner. So I think Treylon Burks has a lot on his shoulders, even with nothing on the line for the whole team this season, the last 3 games.
No, I totally agree. I think Tim Kelly has to emphasize getting Treylon Burks the ball because with nothing left to play for, you want to keep D-Hop happy, obviously. And he's a guy that's going to help you win. If you want to win this football game, you got to get D-Hop the ball. But how about this? Treylon Burks this season hasn't had 4 catches in a single game. He did it 5 times last year.
Really?
This year, he hasn't had 4 catches in one game. I want to see that change. I want to see them get the ball to him early, get him in a rhythm, and that opens up the deep ball. If you want to maybe work in a crosser or a screen, see what he can do after the catch. I think that's a good idea to get Tannehill back in a rhythm and Treylon Burks involved early. Keep him into this game. I really want to see him take that next step. And look, we're running out of time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Look,
So he's got to step up.
MB has a question on YouTube. Austin, the last 3 games are not going to make that big of a difference. I understand. I'm not saying, if Treylon Burks has 4 touchdown catches in the last 3 weeks, I don't think that's going to change everything about it.
Show me a spark.
Yeah, but can it make a difference? Sure, it absolutely can. If you can say at the end of this regular season, if the Titans can feel comfortable with DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks as their top 2 receivers, that's a massive positive in a box that can be checked off of whatever the offseason plan needs to be.
Yeah, I agree. Greg Russo says, forget the backups. The starters need to prove their worth. And that's something that they're going to be evaluating right now. They've been doing it all season, but you got 3 games left to prove that you belong on this team next season. So there's a lot of guys up front in the trenches on defense. Also, Treylon Burks, what's his role going to be next year? He's got to prove that he can be a guy the Titans can count on in the passing game, which he hadn't done this year. Yeah,
for sure. More comments about Burks. Daniel says Burks moves like an offensive lineman. Some short area quickness and speed is needed. Yeah, I mean, Treylon Burks, Mike Vrabel said this in a press conference. He said Treylon Burks reached 21 miles per hour in that game last week. That's moving. But how can you use Treylon Burks outside of a go route or a long developing route that doesn't have any quick cuts? Jody says if Burks balls out for 4 games, which last week and then the next 3, do you trust him going in the next year? I don't trust him. You just trust him more. You want that picture at wide receiver to look more complete at the end of these 3 games, and Treylon Burks has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, his best game in his career came against the Packers. Obviously, one of the best wins in recent memory, had 7 catches in that game. Can he get back to that level? Can he be a guy where D-Hop's blanketed by a top corner? Can Treylon Burks prove his worth, be a threat to the defense, where defensive coordinators next year have to keep him in mind every time you go up against the Titans?
No doubt.
I want to see him do that. And look, he was making plays all training camp, which doesn't matter. You got to show it on the field in the games. But I want to see him get back to that level where he's able to beat some of the top guys. And you're going up against Seahawks secondary, like I mentioned at the top of the show.
Yeah.
It's 24th in the league against the pass. That is worse than the Tennessee Titans, which are about as bad as it can get. So today's your opportunity, Treylon Burks.
And let's flip it a little bit too, because we haven't talked about Derrick Henry yet, who had 9 yards on 16 carries last week. What do you think about Derrick Henry? Because Zach Garinger asked this on YouTube. He goes, I don't know how I'm supposed to watch this game. I want them to lose, but I always get hyped when they play good. And so for Zach Garinger, I think you just want to see positive individual performances. And we were talking to somebody who traveled here from Louisville for the game, and he was saying, this is my last Derrick Henry game, probably. You don't want to watch Derrick Henry in the last 4 games of the season end his Titans career in the gutter. Yeah. You want to see something. You want to have a good taste in your mouth about Derrick Henry's potential end to his Titans career, and he's got to bounce back. And you talked about how bad the Seattle pass defense is. Their run defense is 25th. They give up almost 120 yards on the ground per game. Does that matter today?
Yeah, well, it has to, right? Derrick Henry got nothing going last week. I want to see Tajay Spears get the ball more. I think I'm with a lot of people in the chat. I want to see Henry back next year. Can he maybe make a case for himself to stay? Titans cough up a little bit extra money to keep him around. Nothing that breaks the bank, but I want to see Derrick Henry finish his career as a Titan. Seahawks defense, like you mentioned, I want to go to another stat.
Yeah,
they've given up 28 plus points in 6 games this year, and not against great offenses, right? So this is a day where Ryan Tannehill, who's going to be playing, he wants to put something good on tape for this free agency. Who's he going to land with next year? Is there a team out there that wants him to come in and be a starter? Tannehill is playing for his next contract today. You got to get Derrick Henry involved, though. And Tajay Spears has to be a weapon out of the backfield.
Let's touch on that here in a second and give it some time. What do we expect from Ryan Tannehill today? Because, a guy, and we also had this conversation pregame with a Titans fan here at Acme, Ryan Tannehill is playing for a lot. Ryan Tannehill wants another job next year, and he wants to compete for a starting job in 2024. We understand it's not going to be here. But what do you want to see from Ryan Tannehill? And how do Titans fans deal with the emotions of him potentially playing well, they could win this game? And Zach said this past week. Ryan Tannehill is good enough as a quarterback to win one of these next 3 games. The Titans don't need to. So what are your expectations for Tannehill moving forward?
It's hard to say because I don't know how long he's going to be behind center. This could very well be his last ride.
Yeah, is this it?
In a Titans uniform, depending on Will Levis's health. And, I think the best option, if you want to improve that draft pick, throw the tank commander, Malik Willis, in there. I've said it all week. If you want to win, put Mooney in. But if you want to lose, Malik Willis must be used. We'll see how the Titans approach the last 2 games of the season. But look, Tannehill's had some great memories here in Nashville. A little sour taste in our mouths from the postseason experience with Ryan Tannehill. But he's 38-23 as a starter in Tennessee. I want to see him end his career on a high note. Does that mean a win today? I don't know. We'll see. But I want him to show well. I want him to, I'll be pulling for him wherever he lands next year. It's not going to be here. But look, Ryan Tannehill's the second best quarterback in Tennessee Titans history. He just is. There aren't a lot of options there. But he is the second best quarterback in Titans history. No matter how you feel about him, that's just facts. So I want to see him end on a high note. I want to see him get the ball going deep today. I want Tim Kelly to open it up a little bit. But look, it all starts with the offensive line, right? They gave up 7 sacks in the second half last week. That's not a formula for success. No. Ryan Tannehill, you get a fully healthy Ryan Tannehill, which Titans fan hadn't seen in a while. He's always dealing with some sort of ankle injury, it feels like. So
the last 2 seasons, absolutely.
Yeah. So I want Tannehill to end strong. I want him to finish strong. But all week I go back and forth, right? I want the Titans to lose to improve their draft pick. But once that ball's kicked off, man, I can't do it. I want them to beat the hell out of whoever's in front of them. So Ryan Tannehill has to be a catalyst today.
And that's the funny thing. We're up here at the rooftop at Acme Feed and Seed. Shout out Spirited Hive and Ranch Water for game day specials for the home games. But whenever something good happens in Nissan Stadium, we can hear it before it's on the TV. And whether it's fireworks for touchdowns, cheers for sacks, or third down conversions, or big plays. What is the stadium going to sound like today? because everybody that's going to the game that's a Titans fan probably wants to lose the game overall, but are they going to get caught up in that moment? Like Zach Gehringer said, yeah.
It's hard not to. And, there's a lot of people that have soured on Tannehill that probably don't care if he plays well today or not. I am not one of those people. I know that Tannehill took the Titans from good to great.
Yep.
And now we're back to bad. But, that's no fault of Tannehill. It's the way this roster was built.
Yeah.
I want to see him finish strong. It's hard not to pull for the guy after all he's been through. He handled the benching very gracefully. He could have really had a bad attitude about that because it's hard to lose your job due to injury as a quarterback in this league. But when Will Levis comes in and plays that way, I think he's got a little extra chip on his shoulder today.
Yeah, I think losing but scoring a few touchdowns is probably a good thing to want to see have happen. You probably want to root for the overs moving forward to maybe have the Titans score some points. But Jack, let's go ahead and get to our bingo board. Oh my gosh, we got to be able to hit a bingo before this season ends, and we're getting so close. But first, shout out to the Mint Gaming Hall in Kentucky, just across the Kentucky border, just 35 minutes north of downtown Nashville. Go enjoy all the bowl games this holiday season at the Mint Gaming Hall. Over 1,000 ways to win, and you've got TVs to watch, games to play. And if we hit bingo before the season ends, we've got a prize pack going to a random winner whenever we hit a Titan bingo. So check it out, the Mint Gaming Hall right there, Mint Gaming Hall. Over 1,000 ways to win and so many perks to sign up for their Players Club. The Mint Gaming Hall just north of Nashville in Kentucky across the line. Jack, here is the bingo board for today. Somebody's going to catch a touchdown besides DeAndre Hopkins. Right? Like it's Burks touchdown, Chig touchdown. We even got Mason Kinsey touchdown and Chris Moore touchdown. NWI has been catching touchdowns, but now he's on injured reserve. So somebody's got to catch a touchdown besides D-Hop. What do you think's going to happen? I mean, a Burks touchdown gets us a bingo.
That's what we need, right? We need a Burks touchdown in more ways than one. We want to see we want to see him grow as a player, but also help us out, get people some money from Mint Gaming Hall. Burks touchdown, Chris Moore touchdown. Titans 30-point game. I know everyone's going to laugh at me, but this Seahawks defense is just so prone to giving up the big play. Can Tannehill do that is the question. I'm not so sure. Does he have time?
Can this offensive line do this?
Exactly.
Forget Tannehill for a second. Can the offensive line produce some type of quarterback play and allow for quarterback play to get that many points?
Yeah, that's going to be something to watch. I'd like to see Chick get going. You remember that stretch last year?
Yeah.
I feel like those last 4 or 5 games, Chick really broke out. Hadn't had that moment this year. There hadn't really been a big Chick game. Could today be the day? We'll see about that. Seahawks, Bobby Wagner, they got some slow linebackers. So Chig could take advantage of that, and we'll see a little run after the catch today. I want to see them get the ball to him and Trey Burks.
Yeah.
Those are my 2 guys I want to watch today, as the fireworks scare me every day.
That got me this time. That got me this time. I was not expecting that. 7 minutes away from kickoff at Nissan Stadium here on our X Golf X Factor pregame show. Let's go ahead, Jack. I do think Traylon Burks' touchdown is, like somebody said here, Scott said, is the most plausible. So hopefully maybe that can happen and we can be celebrating a Titan bingo for Christmas. All right, let's go ahead and get to our pregame predictions here on the show. Give your score predictions on what you think is going to happen. Final score, who wins, Titans versus Seahawks here, presented by our friends at BetMGM. You can download the BetMGM app, use our code ATOZ Sports. And when you do it, go big on your first bet because the first bet offer is massive. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses, only when you sign up with ATOZ Sports. That's with the BetMGM app. And Jack, today I had three, not one, not two, but 3 same game parlay boosts for 7 days of parlays right before here on Christmas Eve. I used all of them. I've got one of them on Titans Seahawks. Jack, we got score predictions here before we head out of here. What are you seeing from the chat?
God, it's such a good spot for the Titans, right?
Yeah.
The Seahawks just have so much to overcome with travel, a short week, an emotional win. It's a letdown spot. This is a letdown spot. I just don't know if the Titans can take advantage.
Yeah.
I don't pick against the Titans a lot on this show. It's only happened a couple times.
That's right.
And you know what? I think that Ryan Tannehill comes out, and we see vintage Tanny today. I'm going Titans in a close one, 27-26.
You think the Titans win this game?
I do. I think there's a lot of stuff going on. Christmas, the Seahawks are away from home. Titans are cozied up with their families all week. Good vibes in Nissan. Great day for football. So I'm going Titans in a close one. I think that they mess up the tank, and win today in Tannehill's last drive.
No, there's no way. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think the Seahawks win this game 24-17. Let's go to the chat. Jody says 24-6 Seattle. Ethan saying 28-21 Seahawks. Billy Jones says 26-17, but I don't know which side. Brandon's going 35-17. Daniel says 24-21 Seahawks. 27-20 Seahawks. 34-10 Seahawks right there. Coming in the chat, 35-0 from Nate's burner. Koss said 17-20 Seahawks win this. Guy 28-10. Scott says Titans lose by 10. 31-17 Seahawks. I think the over/unders at 42. Jack at BetMGM. I think the unders are the most likely play.
Really? Two bad defenses.
Let's think about it though. But the offenses aren't putting up a ton of points. What's 42? 6 touchdowns? You think there's a combined 6 touchdowns scored today?
When you put it that way,
No.
I did predict 27-26.
Five touchdowns, 2 field goals. It's 41. That's why I think it's an under 42 today.
And a tight one though. You know,
Because it could be 31-10, 41 points under.
one team scores a lot and the under still hits.
Yes.
MB, I see you down there. I see you saying I'm delusional. Look, I just think it's such a weird spot. And traveling across the country, Pete Carroll's been great when he travels to the East Coast this season, but all good things got to come to an end. And maybe that's Tannehill, flaming out in his last start in Nissan. God knows what's going to happen these next few weeks. But I just think the Titans are able to pull it off today. There's just a weird vibe around Nashville.
Oh, you think so? Okay.
It feels like too good of a day to come out and lay an egg.
It feels incredible. It's great weather. So if you're not doing anything for Christmas Eve, come hang out with us on the rooftop at Acme. The game is getting ready to set, but shout out to Acme Feed and Seed and Spirit Hive and Ranch Water for game day specials here throughout the home game. So check that out. And also shout out to all of our other Titan Game Day live partners, Adventure Science Center, Jarrett Fire, HVAC and Plumbing, Chim Chimney, BetMGM, the Mint Gaming Hall, and the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. This has been the X Golf Nashville pregame show. We'll be right back here at halftime and postgame. We'll catch you then. Enjoy the first half. Appreciate it as always.